Hello, this is Flurry Moon. Welcome back to my channel. I feel like most of my viewers were either born in the 2000s or were old enough to have vague or pretty clear memories from then. Something I do a lot on this channel is take a look at some pieces of lost and unidentified media from this time and try to make some sense of them. Whether that's bringing to light a cancelled game that will literally never see the light of day and was never meant to, or discussing a movie or TV show that many people have vague memories of, but cannot find solid proof of having ever existed in the first place. We discuss lost media on this channel to make sense of our memories, or just to talk about what could have been. Today, we will be taking a look at some of the most interesting pieces of lost, cancelled, and unidentified media I have found recently. I am so freaking excited for this video. I have my Hollister on, so let's just get right into this video. This mystery is one that I have been interested in for quite some time, but it wasn't until L Supersonic Q's most recent video on this topic that I really fell deep into this rabbit hole. If you find this topic interesting, you need to watch this video. I've genuinely watched it like 500 times. Don't be scared, L Supersonic Q. And you can thank my Casey Valentine for opening up this search again and therefore ruining my life in the process. I'm sure you're all somewhat familiar with Animal Crossing. I mean, my channel literally started off as an Animal Crossing channel, but even if you don't know anything about it, you don't need to. I'm gonna tell you just a little bit here. Animal Crossing was initially released as Debotsu no Mori, or Animal Forest, for the N64 in Japan in 2001, but we wouldn't see the series hit the West until 2002, with Animal Crossing population growing for the GameCube. To many, Animal Crossing was a bit of an odd game. What do I do next? It's often a question players ask themselves. The unique part of this game was that you technically can do whatever you want. The whole point, per se, is to settle into a new town you stumble upon where you, the only human living amongst cute animal villagers, spend your time at your own pace. Yes, there are goals, but none of them are tied to a deadline. Sell the bugs and fish you catch to save up to decorate the house you can upgrade to your liking, collect all the cool clothing you find, pay off all your loans so you can unlock the gold statue of yourself that gets placed in your town. But arguably the heart of this game are the villagers. Cute, sometimes not so much. Sweet, sometimes not so much, but very human in an ironic way. So my point in bringing this up is that since the whole point of this game is taking care of your town in a sense, anything that could possibly wreck this safe space you've created was a big fear back in the day. Which leads us to our urban legends. If you played any video game as a kid, I guarantee you remember hearing a rumor that changed the way you played the game. The Webkinz killer was a classic. Everyone was saying if you log in, don't click on the black box that shows up because a penguin will come out and stab all your Webkinz or something. These rumors could be in the form of a lie that you could obtain a certain character if you completed X, Y, and Z, just for you to go home, try it yourself, and realize you got duped. That is not a thing. Other rumors floated around of evil beings living in your game that would corrupt your save file or worse. For Animal Crossing, that was Brutus the Bulldog. Many different stories floated around of this secret villager, the most consistent one being that this evil villager could arrive in your town throughout the night, speak in binary code, destroy your town, and steal your favorite villagers. You were encouraged to completely avoid Brutus while he was there, as talking to him would supposedly end in Brutus wiping your save file completely. If you successfully ignored him, he would move out like the next day. This rumor scared many kids out of playing the game in fears of encountering Brutus. Of course, we now know 100% Brutus is completely made up. First of all, that would be kind of wild to code into a kid's game. Like, why would the developers want to scare children out of playing their game? But if that wasn't enough, data miners have scoured through the game's code in recent years and have found no such villager named Brutus, and not even finding the supposed bee shirt he allegedly wore. However, The lost media is coming in. Back in the day, there was a supposed screenshot of Brutus floating around on the internet. Now, I originally thought, yeah, like I've seen this screenshot. Wrong. We're talking about the original photo of Brutus from probably 2002 to 2005-ish in the original GameCube entry of the series that scared so many players back in the day. Now, again, Brutus is fake. This screenshot would be 100% photoshopped or manipulated in some other way. In L Supersonic Q's 2017 video on Brutus, he mentioned the infamous screenshot allegedly being of a poorly edited Octavian. However, in his new video, he's discovered nowadays a lot of these rumors he covered in the original video are nowhere to be found on the internet nowadays. So we can't even find proof of this Octavian rumor even existing. Obviously, it had to have come from somewhere. Low-key, that would be a wild thing of L Supersonic Q to just come up with. And maybe I'm misremembering, but like, even back in like 2020, I feel like I saw this Octavian rumor. I don't know, but maybe it was just people talking about L Supersonic Q's video. I have no idea. Also, in the original video, L Supersonic Q listed some other names Brutus had been called, such as Brutus with an I instead of a U, Rufus, Brutus, etc. However, nowadays, it's pretty hard to find proof of that as well. I did my own digging and found this YouTube video from 2018 in which this user, who was literally like a child, so cute, showed some old forum threads talking about Brutus. As you can see here, a commenter refers to him as Brutus, Brutus, Rufus, and Barbie. This was the first I'd seen of someone referring to him as Barbie, at least, and it easily could have just been a mistake, but it goes to show how much conversation took place over this elusive character, and how many of those discussions are impossible to find nowadays. Well, besides randomly documented in a YouTube video with 200 views. We do have a Belltree forum thread from 2009 discussing Brutus, where one user by the name of Super GameCube 64 relays a story from another user, Captain Jack, who mentioned the photo being passed around, showing Brutus as a dog wearing a blue bee shirt. However, we don't even know what forum this interaction would have taken place on. I think this photo, if it ever even existed in the first place, would likely be found deep in old forum posts or old YouTube videos that likely don't even have Brutus's name in the title. For example, a Reddit user around a month ago found this video from 2009 of a player showing off their hacked city folk town with none other than Brutus living peacefully in their game. However, any fan forum that could possibly have this picture is most likely taken down and not archived well. It was incredibly frustrating to come across this MSN forum archived on the Wayback Machine with 3 different people mentioning having a photo of Brutus or just talking about him, only to click on the thread to see that it had not been archived, and therefore a complete dead end. I cannot believe I forgot to talk about this, but when I was looking through L Supersonic Q's comment section, I found this user talking about some things they found, and they found what was basically equivalent to like Japanese Yahoo Answers or something. This photo of a supposed letter from Brutus in binary code, and the person who posted it was asking, what did Brutus say? And the binary code actually said, "Here I come," which is kind of terrifying. So I just think this is so freaking cool, and it just goes to show there's so much that we're missing in not just random forum posts, but also Japanese communities. And I even saw a comment, sorry, my voice sounds so weird. Animal Crossing has a huge French community. There's just so many conversations that I didn't even think to search through, so I have been looking through a ton of Japanese sources, and Louis speaks French, so I'll get him in here and try to translate some stuff for me. But yeah, I just thought that was really freaking cool. Honestly, at this point, the original photo is something I want to find so bad, but I'm also mostly interested in the origins of this urban legend. When exactly was it created and by whom? Well, because of that archived forum, the oldest date we currently have of mentions of Brutus the Bulldog is March 26th, 2004, which is wild. Like, I knew it had to be pretty early on, but 2004? I was just a little baby. But honestly, there's just still so much that we don't know. Where did this Octavian rumor come from? Why did Brutus have so many different names that players referred to him as? Did this photo ever exist? Some speculate the infamous photo of Brutus was an inside joke between users on these old Animal Crossing forums. Basically, one person would claim to have the proof of Brutus, and then you would click on the link and try to open the file, and it would either not work, or it would be a photo of something else entirely. Even a user who frequented the forums at this time believes that this could very well be the case. However, they did admit to possibly having seen a screenshot of Brutus speaking to your character when another user brought it up. As of right now, the biggest lead we currently have are the users who were in the poorly archived MSN group I mentioned earlier, as well as users in a GameFAQs thread that shared the MSN link. LSupersonicQ has since reached out to those contacts, as well as others in different threads that could be of help. However, we're kind of back at another dead end. Okay, I could genuinely talk about this case forever, but we have other topics to get to, so please, 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 if you haven't already, go check out LSupersonicQ's 2 videos on this, because there was even a discovery of a early recreation of Brutus, and I highly recommend going to check out that video for more information on it, because it's pretty much the closest this search has ever gone. I haven't been this invested in a lost media case in a bit, so it would really mean so much to many people if this was found, especially me. And let's get into the next entry. You guys, I'm guilty of something. This entry is from the late 90s. This video is supposed to be 2000s centered. I don't know how I didn't realize this until sitting here editing right now. I have the choice to take it out of the video, but I really don't want to. For many reasons, I think it's so bizarre and interesting, and I do think this piece of media absolutely inspired what would be 2000s Nickelodeon. This has kind of been a mystery through the 2000s as well, so I'm gonna keep it in the video. I had one job. I literally had one job. What are we drinking today? I have a hot pumpkin caramel coffee or something, and it freaking slaps. Ow! I hit my tooth. This whole thing is actually wild. I stumbled upon this post in the Lost Media subreddit, posted just 5 days ago, so there is a decent chance this could be solved literally as I'm uploading this, or not. Natalie's Backseat Traveling Web Show was a series that ran from around 1996 to 1998, and the story followed a preteen girl named Natalie documenting her family's road trip online in a vlog-like form from the backseat of the family car. Each episode would have been around 4 minutes long, however, we don't exactly know when the series stopped airing. Nowadays, there are only 2 episodes fully archived and some online content relating to the show. However, the weirdest part of this whole thing is that the lead actress who played Natalie is a complete mystery. That's right. We do not know who this woman is. In fact, both Wikipedia and IMDb list this actress as unknown, which, okay, maybe I'm a bit dramatic, but like, I kind of got chills. I don't know. I'm so that freaking Lost Media meme. Before getting deeper into this, I need everyone to know, I'm well aware there's a chance that this actress does not want to be found or identified. There's a good chance she's just living a normal private life and wants nothing to do with the public or anything. I totally respect that. I don't think we as the internet are owed anything from this woman. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I'm totally fine if we never find out her name, right? I just think it's wild that even upon finding these 2 archived episodes, there are no credits like that list her at all. It gets even weirder upon viewing one of the 2 archived episodes on YouTube and seeing the first comment, which was 11 years ago, claimed to know Natalie. Natalie is my math teacher now. She told me to look this up and I couldn't believe it. I heard rumors about her being on a Nickelodeon show and it's true. Pretty cool. However, the comment commenter never gave a name, which is understandable for safety reasons, and again, we're not owed this woman's name. However, even 5 years ago, people were responding to this comment asking what Natalie's name was. This whole thing is incredibly interesting to me. I just find it really odd how we've gone this long without ever finding out. I watched the episode on YouTube, and the show is actually really clever and is a pretty fascinating time capsule of that late 90s internet aesthetic, and had the whole web show gimmick long before iCarly would appear. I'm sure this series heavily inspired iCarly and later Nickelodeon projects, and I think for that it deserves to be preserved. We are returning back to my comment section with this incredibly disturbing yet intriguing case of unidentified media that basically traumatized this user as a child. This is some of my favorite genres, if you will, of lost media, and I always love hearing what you guys have to say. I will definitely do a video of just the comments soon. Yeah, let's get into it. Cherry Pansy 4642 says, I have a Rapunzel movie I've been searching for. It was on a VHS tape that I would rent from my local library. This has to be around 2005. It was very disturbing. The prince would fall out of the tower and hit his head on the ground. Blood would pour out. It wasn't red blood though. It was cartoonish pink. My mom would joke that it was Teletubby pudding color to make me less scared. I had a weird fascination with this tape and would rent it multiple times throughout my childhood. I would love to see this again as an adult. This comment definitely caught my attention, but I instantly knew how hard this was going to be to find. I needed a little bit more information, so I asked OP if they remember what the characters look like, or better yet, if it was animated or live action. This is what I'm torn on. I remember it as animation, but my mom, who also remembers it, said it was live action. I do remember for certain, when it cuts to the prince with pink blood coming out, it seemed out of place. Like it was a freeze frame with the blood oozing out layered over it. I hope that makes sense. This detail is incredibly odd, and it makes it that much more interesting to me. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how much I can do alone to find this, as my Google searches have gone literally nowhere. It's also important to note, OP recently checked their library's catalog, but could not find it there either. So I'm definitely gonna need your guys' help on this one. I think this is a matter of finding someone else who remembers this, at least to confirm its existence, which I definitely believe it did exist, as I would pass this off as a dream, but the fact that OP's mother remembers it, that's a good amount of confirmation for me. Hello. I'm back to share some news about this search. I have been scouring YouTube in hopes of finding this freaking movie. I've found a lot of scary Rapunzel movies from the early 2000s, the 90s, and even the 80s, so this is most likely from the 90s, I can imagine. Not the 2000s. This video is supposed to be about 2000 stuff, but I did come across something really interesting. As I was looking through the Rapunzel movies, I found this episode of the Shelley Duvall Fairy Tale Theater, I think is what it's called. I think there were multiple episodes, and in this episode she was Rapunzel, and I really thought this could have been it. The prince falls out of the castle and he bleeds from his eyes this like orangey pink cartoonish blood. To me, it's exactly how the commenter described it. Like it looks like it was like poorly drawn on or something. Like it just, and honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, you guys, this scared me so bad.
Can't see.
My heart dropped. I don't know why this was so scary. Maybe because I just wasn't expecting it. I responded back to OP and they're pretty sure this isn't it. They're sure that the blood was much more pink and it came from the back of his head. They do admit it could just be because they were super young when they watched this. It's not clicking with them, so we still are looking for this, but I needed to show you guys this because what? But I can't wait to see what you guys have to say on that one, and let's get into the next entry. This might just be one of the most niche franchises I've ever talked about on this channel. I know I say that a lot. Gotcha Force was a Capcom game released for the GameCube in 2003, and the story would follow a group of kids fighting to save the world from the Death Force using their Gotchaborgs. Gotchaborgs are essentially toys in which you can assemble into your own team, each Gotchaborg having different skills and specialties. This game did pretty poorly upon release, with many negative and mediocre reviews, therefore very quickly falling into obscurity.
The day after a meteorite fell towards Safari Town, a boy went in search of it, hoping to find an adventure. They are an evil Gotchaborg corps that fight only to conquer and destroy.
However, there was a lot more planned for this series that was ultimately cancelled due to the poor reception. However, it's pretty hard to find any solid information on said projects due to the fact that nobody freaking knows what this game is. I was just introduced to this game by my boyfriend Louis, who has had this game since he was a kid, and he is probably like the only fan of it. It's definitely a hidden gem, and it's actually quite rare nowadays, going for around $600. There have been rumors of a supposed Gotcha Force anime that was cancelled after one episode due to cost issues. I'm not sure if this implies that one episode did in fact air before getting cancelled, or if they produced the first episode and it never saw the light of day. I can imagine it's probably the latter, as I'm sure there would be a bit more proof of this having existed if it was released even once. Honestly though, I wouldn't be surprised if an anime was in the works at some point, as the game starts with an anime intro with a theme song and everything. Maybe that's not so crazy, but I find it hard to believe they would go through the effort to animate such an intro just for the game. Wikipedia even lists a Gotcha Force manga series that supposedly was only ever released in Japan and is incredibly rare. However, others claim that this doesn't actually exist at all. All I could find using the Wayback Machine were mentions of a special picture book that was never actually sold and was only shown at an event. Not only that, but Gotcha Force was actually supposed to sell toys of the Gotchaborgs playable in the game, and honestly, these look really cool, and I'm only a little jealous of the people who have seen this in real life. However, as you could have guessed, these toys were never released as the game did poorly, so all we have are these photos of the prototypes consisting of both human characters as well as the Gotchaborgs. This is honestly a genius idea in my opinion. You collect all the Gotchaborgs in-game, and then you have the ability to collect them all in real life. I mean, it's giving Pokemon. Like, I honestly wish the game did better because I do think this is a really great concept. Alas, Gotcha Force has left many unanswered questions and a very small group of fans wondering what could have been. Really quick, I'm so sorry for all these little cuts to me editing with my messy hair and my terrible look today. I just need you guys to know that this section has a bit of drama from like the early 2000s, and I feel like I explained myself pretty well, but just want to make it clear, no hate to anybody I'm talking about. I'm strictly interested in the lost and obscure media side of this whole situation. I feel like you guys will get it, but I just felt the need to like really make sure I'm like not trying to be messy and like dig up old stuff. This is Super Monkey Ball we're talking about, okay? Like, let's all have a good time. So I just wanted to make sure you guys got my intentions. Okay, you guys. This is gonna be a weird entry, and I'm prepared for people to be like, what are you talking about? And why are you interested in ever seeing this? But I care about it, and it will most likely never be found, and to me that's a big part of the appeal of lost media, is knowing that I'll never see it. If you're not familiar with Super Monkey Ball, the game is basically centered around an arcade-like set of obstacle courses that you play through typically as a monkey inside of a ball. It's addicting. I actually just recently started playing it a few days ago, Super Monkey Ball 2 on the GameCube, and this is how I stumbled upon this video documenting the possible cheating of a Super Monkey Ball legend What am I saying right now? This alleged cheater was at the top of many high score lists and was very prominent in the community back in the early 2000s. This user was named Pack Attack, and I'm pretty sure he's still active online today. No shade to him personally, I do not know this man. I was barely alive when he was allegedly cheating in Super Monkey Ball, literally in diapers. The type of cheating players accused him of: rapid pausing. Not a technique unique to Super Monkey Ball by any means, but one that started popping up a ton around that time and was not super easy to detect back then. To easily complete, say, the E9.1 wire, an incredibly difficult and tedious level to complete, you could technically pause your game over and over again to slow down the gameplay, essentially cheating your way through. However, upon viewing the replay, the game would not record all the times you paused, so the footage would simply look like a flawless run with no stops. This made replay footage much less credible. Now, although he never admitted to cheating, and we actually don't know 100% if he did or not, it's pretty evident based on the replay footage we've seen, as well as his silence on the matter, completely going from not so great at the game to a literal god overnight. You could kind of put the pieces together. I'm getting to the lost media, I promise. Because replay footage became pretty much useless, as it was no longer a good way of telling if a user was cheating or not, players started seeking out live plays of those with high scores. Because this was 2002, live streaming was literally not a thing, and owning a capture card was not common at all, so retrieving this kind of proof was not as simple as it would be today. So live play would have to be footage of live gameplay, or as close to it as you could get in 2002. A real live play would leave little to no room for cheating, as not only would you have to go in and edit all of the pauses out of the video, but the audio would be completely messed up if you did. In fact, this is exactly how another cheater was caught in later years. So live gameplay would most likely have proven Pack Attack's legitimacy, and I'm sure he knew this because he then began to send around a video in the community of his live play. This footage that could have completely cleared Pack Attack's name or incriminated him further has now been completely lost to time. As the years went on and users became more and more suspicious of Pack Attack, given his replay footage looks incredibly choppy as if there were some pauses mixed in there, this elusive live play footage had been brought up several times as proof he never cheated. However, those who had received the video back in the day slowly began to realize that footage never had sound. Upon the realization, this just became another nail in the coffin that this Super Monkey Ball god was probably not as trustworthy as he seemed. Although, again, it was never 100% confirmed that he was a cheater, the community has kind of collectively agreed that it wasn't all that authentic at the very least, and his scores were removed from a ton of leaderboards. Anyway, we'll most likely never see this footage, as it was from so long ago, and I'm pretty sure he never uploaded this video to any site at the time. It was simply shared amongst players in the community, and those players no longer have access to it. Again, I know this may be incredibly trivial and even odd to want this to be found, but I just feel like it's such an important part of early internet history. I literally just found out about this upon seeing the Goober13MD video, and I haven't been able to forget about it. I don't know, it's just to think there was such a devoted community with their own lore, drama, and secrets that has now been forgotten and fallen into obscurity. It's just, I don't know, it's just also interesting to me. To me, this isn't a question of if Pack Attack cheated or not. That's quite frankly not for me to say, and to me, it doesn't really matter. I'm just interested in the fact that we will most likely never see this footage that could have changed everything. It's just crazy to me. I don't know. I'm a bit worried about this section because I feel like other people won't find it as interesting. This is like my current hyperfixation, but I hope you guys like it. And if you find this interesting at all, you have to go watch these two videos by Goober13MD. I have completely fallen into the rabbit hole. Speedrun cheating drama and stuff is just so interesting to me. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a whole video on it if you guys like it. That's about it for this week's video. I know it was kind of all over the place a bit. I'm obsessed with each and every topic I've discussed today, and I hope it shows. Yeah, I guess that's about it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below how you feel about these cases and some of your own lost and unidentified pieces of media. That's about it. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye!